Oh, that was just about the perfect Christmas vacation game, wasn't it? It was extreme joy followed by just wanting to be over as quickly as possible while your annoying relatives like Rich Eisen incessantly talked and said inane things. I've got 10 plays here, most of them sequentially. Am I going to keep all the details straight? No, not at all. But it started off really, really hot. Jaden Higgins for the touchdown from the 26-yard line. This was brilliant. It was beautiful. It was not only a great connection to Jaden Higgins, but also the gravitational pull of Nico Collins, as you see down there at the bottom. If we watch that again, Kurt did a good job of showing how Nico just draws the safety's attention. You end up with Jaden Higgins wide open down the middle of the field. And you get off to a rip-roaring start. The next defensive series, many sacks today, 5 sacks for the Texans today. I'm just going to show this one, Danielle Hunter. He was robbed later on. But, I mean, when we say traffic cone, that poor dude playing left tackle has to go up against this freak of nature in his first game. And Danielle affected the game in a few ways today. The pass rush was really good, except for the thing that we worried about, which was Justin Herbert escaping up the middle. Sometimes for positive yardage, he was the second leading rusher for the Chargers today. He ended up having he had like 6 carries for 36 yards or something like that. It was a stressful second half. That's when Justin Herbert really started to try to overcome all the charging that was going on elsewhere. Oh my gosh, the kicking game for the Chargers. If you didn't see this game, Dicker the kicker missed an extra point in a field goal, point blank range. I mean, that's the difference in the game right there if you just go strictly by the score. But back to the beginning, the fireworks at the beginning. Jalen Noel on the second series breaks one, and again in single coverage, just watch the Jets. I didn't speed that up. He has got a little bit of a Tank Dell in him where it just looks like he's not moving at the same speed the rest of us normal human beings do. I mean, obviously, I've never moved at anything remotely that fast. That part was really encouraging at the beginning. And then you would think, okay, well, the Texans are going to just do what they do, take care of the football, don't do anything stupid. We'll get to where it all starts getting tense in a second here. But I wanted to point this out. This wasn't the best run stuff of the game, but it was one of several good plays versus the run. And the big thing today was Azeez Elshire was back in the game. He's in on the tackle here. But if you watch the defensive tackles, this was Fotu, I think. But Fotu and Naquan Jones are bigger dudes. And to the right of your screen, the left defensive tackle is Fotu. He's holding this. He's setting the. He's up strong at the point of attack. But then if you look to your left of your screen, the right defensive tackle, there's our old friend Tommy Togiai. And meanwhile, Azeez Elshire is going to shoot the gap. And they end up holding Omario Hampton today, even though he had that touchdown run. He only ended up, I want to say it was like 2 yards a carry. 14 carries for 29 yards, so about 2 yards per carry. That was good. Where it didn't work out so hot and where you felt the loss of Mario Edwards and Tim Settle and some of those guys who were maybe a little bit more fleet of foot than everybody except Sheldon Rankins is on some of those scrambles up the middle. And sometimes the escapability without having those guys that can pursue from the inside out is a little dicier. I know they'd like to use Danico Autry down inside, but he gives up some mass. So you got to be careful about when you do that because he can rush, from the inside out and chase down guys like Justin Herbert. By and large, they did a good enough job today when Herbert was given multiple opportunities. So let's see. Stroud's first interception. Score is well in hand, 14-0. And this looked a lot worse at first glance. Then you saw that Mr. Hand there gets it off to, there you go, Derwin James. And the Texans would hold him to a field goal on that. But then we get the Stroud second interception. I think I screwed up the order on these Because first there was a Stroud's second interception, right? Yeah, Stroud's second interception. This was an ugly one. I kept waiting for reasons why that this might not be. I don't know. I don't know exactly what was going on there. Maybe Stroud addressed it in the press conference. But the other thing that we saw rear its ugly head was their inability to handle the blitz. At times, without watching the All-22, that just didn't look like there were answers for it. There were times where guys just weren't uncovered. But this is, especially in the third quarter, go back to the Chiefs game, this is when it seems to really pop up. And then after that, you're just trying to scrap together pieces. The run game loosened up a little bit. It loosened up for the run game after those first two deep shots. And I thought they did it effectively enough. At the end of the game, they ended up getting the first downs that they needed to. But offensively, not a whole lot to get excited about. So you have that interception, but then you turn around, and meanwhile, that was when Kamari Lassiter went out of the game. Tremont Smith gets targeted twice on that series. They get down into the end zone, and boom, Azeez Al-Shaair. As long as, if he needs to work on the jugs machine only on deflected passes, if there's a jugs machine that can do deflected passes, that's when his hands are nails. He can't catch an interception to save his life in any other occasion, but now both in the Kansas City game and this game, we've seen Azeez come up big. Also, I wonder with Gadsden here, I couldn't hear when the whistle was, but man, I mean, Azeez was laying there on the ground for a while. If I remember correctly, he got up and did start running, but at that point, the officials had ruled him down. But a good job by Azeez there. So they're backed up. They get out of that situation. They're backed up. The first down play, I think they only went for a yard or something. But then jumbo package comes in, and Woody Marks, boom, gets him out of trouble. Beautiful. If you look to the left of your screen, Kingston was in there as the sixth offensive lineman. He crashes down. You see Cade Stover take care of business. And then Jaden Higgins sealing on the edge there. Looked like Blake Fisher may have lost his feet, but did a good enough job holding them just long enough. And good job by Woody Marks there. Not a brilliant day, but both he and Jawar Jordan had some nice runs. So this is all still the first half. And what happened after that? Oh, that was the missed field goal after that. They got down in a position. They had the missed field goal. Let me see if I didn't do my mic check yet. Let's be sure. Yeah. Couldn't he have gotten up? Yeah, I believe he could. Well, no, I don't fault him for not getting up there. I don't know if he thought he was in the end zone. I guess that's the big problem. Yeah, he could have gotten up, yes. But I think the fear was it's dicey right there because as he's getting up, he enters the end zone, and then Gadsden had the wherewithal to touch him in the end zone. But I don't know. It wouldn't have been like his momentum carried him in there. Those are dicey situations. I wish I had better, more clear-cut answers for what they should have done. You go to the third quarter. By then, and the Texans, when you would have hoped that once it was 14-0, they would have done more than score a couple field goals, but they had a field goal drive. Then 17-3, third and 14. Just they're not in. Maybe they would have gone for it on fourth down in this territory. We'll never know because he escapes up the middle. Boom. Hits Stingley. Stingley goes out for just one play. And then this was a particularly manly play by Jalen Petrie on Ladd McConkey. Baha. But so he gets to almost hit the quarterback. But Herbert's a gutsy dude, man. That's a broken hand and an injured elbow right there. And he just doesn't even budge. I wanted to criticize Stingley for not form tackling there, but he was also getting injured as that was going on. And I can't remember. He had another, I think that was the drive where he had another really nice throw. That was in the second touchdown drive. I don't want to put too many Chargers highlights on here. So you go to you get down to 4 minutes left. It's third down, okay? 3rd and 6, 4 minutes, 25 seconds left. Chargers down by 10. You could effectively win the game right here. And you do, because Danielle Hunter gets a sack, and it's definitely a sack. And by the way, Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson are amongst the best in the league at getting sacks in the fourth quarter, in clutch time. But this bogus BS, which neither Rich Eisen nor Kurt Warner made mention of, they just conceded that, okay, that lad McConkey right there, number 15, turns up field, and this is not illegal contact. Jalen Petry's in position. McConkey turns into him and initiates contact. And nary a word from Rich Eisen, who a series later would be just besides himself with indignation that the officials would call illegal contact on the Chargers when the season hung in the balance. First of all, the season doesn't hang in the balance, Rich Eisen. My God. Second of all, don't you ever again, like you did 3 times in this game, say, no flag on the play. Oh, there is a flag. Wait, is there a flag? What the hell are you doing? Why does NFL Network continue to put you on these primetime broadcasts? I'm trying to be polite here. He's a very good interviewer. Excellent interviewer. The same traits that make him a good interviewer, as I tweeted out earlier tonight, are the very things that make him an incredibly awful play-by-play announcer. He's slow. He's more inquisitive. His rhythm is all weird. I just don't. I don't want to turn this into a gripe session. One more thing I wanted to point out: Kayvon Wallace. He played 44 snaps at safety today. He comes up and makes a big stuff. This was right before the first field goal that they actually made. But number 38 right there. Miles Bryant didn't play a single snap. The experiment at safety continues, but at the very least, I saw a couple nice plays out of Kayvon Wallace today. Jalen Reed might be coming back. His practice window opens up, so maybe they'll figure something out at that safety position that's been a constant headache going back to the Jimmy Ward arrests / injury to the C.J. Gardner-Johnson debacle to everything else that's gone on. When Tremont Smith was in today instead of Kamari Lassiter, we very much saw how critical it is to have both those cornerbacks out there. That was a dicey situation for a while. I was happy with by and large, with the defense versus the run. They held Amari and Hampton to 2 yards per carry. Having those big bodies in there helped. The pass rush is going to lag a little bit when you don't have Tim Settle and Mario Edwards and Foley Fatukasi and everybody else, but that's where we are right now. The 3 linebackers just have to stay healthy. And I know people are frustrated with some of Henry To'oTo'o's missed tackles, but when those 3 guys aren't out there, if you don't have all 3 of those linebackers healthy, they can't line up in their 4-3. They don't, either Christian Harris is still banged up again or something, or they just don't trust him. But those are the 3 guys that are part of this number 1 overall defense. And To'oTo'o made some great plays in the backfield and on some of those stuffs today as well. The run game opened up somewhat. I mean, that's kind of where I am with a couple of the positions. Like, it is what it is offensively, and if you can get them to execute in the fourth quarter or make first downs. We saw flashes out of Jawar Jordan. What did Jawar Jordan end up today? He ended up with 8 carries for 36 yards, so a little over 4 yards a carry for him. And Justin Herbert had 6 carries for 37 yards. The Quentin Johnston was a big one, 5 receptions for 98 yards. At least 2 of those were on Tremont Smith. Gadsden ended up with 3 key receptions for 32 yards. All in all, 8. Look, they won 8 games in a row. What are they going to do versus the genuinely elite teams in the playoffs? For one, you can't count on one of the best kickers in recent NFL history missing 2 kicks in a game. Although the Texans, the PAT field goal block, for whatever reason, they do induce a lot of misses. I don't know what. It's true. The aside from the blocks that they get from Danico Autry and the like, teams just miss a lot of that. It's not just something that we feel like we've seen a lot. I haven't checked the rankings in a while, but the opponent field goal percentage completion is really bad versus the Texans. So is there psychological warfare going on? I don't know. I choose to attribute it to skill instead of anything else. Let's see. Are there genuinely elite teams in the playoffs? No! That's the beauty of it. Yeah, Texans vet. I'll give you a shout out. For what? I don't know. You're a vet. There you go. So, yes. Let's see, one more. Texans don't have to adjust their game to other teams. Other teams have to adjust to that Texans defense. That's the big question is, okay, how far can a defense carry you into the playoffs? And they just face the team that they might face again in the playoffs. The thing that's concerning right now is that you've got a team in the division in the Jacksonville Jaguars that have really turned it up both on offense and on defense. The Jaguars on this 6-game win streak they're on, and I know they've faced some lambs, but they've also beat Denver in Denver. They're plus 144, which I had to double check that. Over the course of 6 games, they've been scoring an average of 35 points a game or something absurd like that. They've turned it on both sides of the ball. And there aren't teams that have been elite throughout the duration of it, but there's obviously some really tough challenges in the playoffs. And Justin Herbert is playing at a level that is way above and beyond what the guys around him are playing at. The one drop, who had the drop today for the first down that he could have had? He's a tough guy. The benefit of the officials today, I do think I'll say this because the Texans won. I do think the Texans got hosed. I would be reluctant to blame it on the officials if they had lost, but it was incredibly lopsided in terms of just the number of calls and the ticky-tackness of some of the calls on both sides. I think that was no, you know what? Rich Eisen and Kurt Warner weren't even analyzing the proper illegal contact downfield. Sterator, whichever jackass was the rules official, came on and said, "Hey, fellas, you're looking at the wrong one there. No, that's definitely illegal contact. All right." The other time, and then when they Azeez Elshire had the holding in the end zone, which I do actually think was holding, but the camera was panning in on Derek Stingley on the other end where it looked like the receiver just slipped, but you couldn't really see that it was Derek Stingley. So it was just the fault of the broadcast got us angered for no good reason on what was actually a legitimate defensive holding by Azeez Elshire. That part of it, I'm annoyed by that, but I'm happy about this win. I will do a proper treatment of all the key plays in the game tomorrow, as well as respond to the press conferences and everything else. Everybody else, stay safe out there. Just go return your gifts, re-gift your gift cards. That's always a good strategy this time of year. And we'll reconvene tomorrow.